I'd like to call the meeting to order. Our first item is our pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Vice Chair, could you read our mission statement?
The mission of the Marshall Public School District is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Any additions? Please vote. It is approved. Public forum. Now is the time. Anybody in the public would like to make a statement, you can come forward. Moving on to our presentation, Life of a Tiger. Welcome.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today. We're going to let members of our activities leadership team kind of handle most of this here. We have Rick Purrington with us here, who's been a member of our activities leadership team for a number of years, and also Kathleen Deitz, who just started her term this year as a member of our leadership team. So they're going to take you through the presentation, and we're excited about this kind of new initiative here, and Mr. Munson asked us to come and share about it. So let them take over.
All right, I'm Kathleen Deitz, so we're just going to talk a little bit about what Mr. Remy said, Life as a Tiger, our initiative. So what we did, or I was not part of that, but now I am. So we rebranded a little bit, and we wanted to make sure that it was cohesive and everybody had the same language, and I'll get to that later. But with our activities here at the Marshall Public School District, we have a wide variety of activities that students can be involved with. About 75% of the student body participated in all of our extracurricular programs at Marshall High School last year. And we've had various success in a multiple array of our activities at the conference level, section level, state, and even at the national level as well. And we also have highly qualified and professional coaching staff within our activities. These are the members that were on the activities leadership team last year, and they kind of came up with the idea of Life as a Tiger and kind of what we'll be going through later. With our Tiger Pride, our activities leadership team consistently has worked to identify ways to help increase our school spirit within the Marshall High School, unify all of our programs together so that we're all kind of cohesive and talking about the same message and talking about the same values with all of our activities within the district. Again, reinforcing our beliefs and values as a district, getting more towards that teamness and togetherness instead of each individual team kind of doing their own thing. And then working on developing character and creating that common language throughout the district. Again, each team we do our own things, but we want to make sure that our activities are using the same language with our students and our faculty and the people that we interact with within the community. And then the next part, one of our common goals for participating, or I think you guys did a survey, right, Mr. Remy?
Yeah, most of what you see there is just kind of a summary of what national level surveys talk about. And certainly the feedback we get from our own students reflects that too. But a lot of the reasons why kids like to participate in high school activities are outlined there.
So kids want to be able to develop skills. They want to compete with other people within the region, the community, the state, the city, learning life skills. I like to emphasize that because with all activities, we're really teaching a lot of life skills. It's not necessarily winning or losing, but how to work through difficult times, how to work through working with teammates and different coaches and leaders. They want to spend time with their friends. That's why we have so many people, I think. And then they also want to have fun and make memories within those activities and within their high school years. And then I'm going to let Mr. Purrington talk about Life as a Tiger. We kind of broke down each letter into what? You can talk about that.
An acronym, yeah.
Yeah, an acronym. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, good evening. Life as a Tiger became a part of what the activities leadership team wanted to do because we believe that one of our goals is to create an atmosphere where character is something that is taught by coaches. We feel like, we teach students plays and we have athletes run them and we teach a lot of other things as well. But in the end, what do students get out of participation in sports or other activities? And we feel like something they can always take with them will be some of these character traits that we're going to outline here. The first one is teamwork. Life is all about working with others, being a part of something larger than you, being a contributing member of a team. Life as a Tiger means you embrace the idea of team first and fulfilling your role as a team member. A couple other things that we want to talk about when it comes to teamwork would be this isn't just your basketball team or your football team. This is also a team in life beyond high school. So we try to emphasize here that this is transcendent beyond just the activities realm. Integrity. Having integrity means being true to yourself, doing the right thing, and doing nothing to dishonor yourself or those you represent. Grit. We talked a lot about this one as a group and really felt like this was one that students can really get from activities that maybe they're not getting in other places in their life. Perseverance, discipline, dedication, hard work, words that all describe what it means to have grit. Life as a Tiger means you embrace the grind and never give up. This idea that students might try and won't succeed at first. We want to make sure that we send a message in our activities that it's okay to fail, and what you do then is you get up and you embrace the grind. That's grit, perseverance. Excellence. We feel like our activities here in Marshall are something that brings a lot of pride to the community. And one of the reasons is because we've had a lot of successful teams. And that is a part of the excellence. Certainly we ask students to give a lot when it comes to their activities, and that has resulted in a lot of great results. But excellence is also transcendent beyond just activities, right? It's something that you sort of create as a pattern in your life. Everything you do should be something that you do because you want it to be excellent. Achievement, accomplishments, and results. The pursuit of excellence has and will continue to grow the strong tradition of the Marshall Tigers. And lastly is respect. A Tiger always shows respect to others. Respect isn't something that needs to be earned. Respect is something that should be displayed unconditionally in all situations. We understand in our activities that we could win on the scoreboard, but if our students aren't treating the opponent with respect or the referees with respect, then the win on the court doesn't matter. So we wanted to include that as well. Those are the words that we came up with that fit our value system and character traits that we want students to take with them. And it fits nicely into that acronym of a Tiger.
Excuse me, do you review this with each team when you meet with parents and stuff?
Yeah,
And
you
the
know, we
kids?
just, you know, where Rick's kind of going with this, we just rolled this out this fall. We had our first day of fall sports, all of our fall activities teams were in the same place at the same time, and we rolled this out. We went through slide by slide those exact same ones with all of them. Met with the marching band, did the same thing with them.
Good.
Had our all-staff meeting, had had the same conversation with all of them.
We need to talk a little bit more this year about implementation of this and putting it into the sort of vocabulary of how our coaches talk to their teams. That's really how we want to use these words. They're, we'll put them on a t-shirt and we want to put them other places, but at the same time, we want coaches to use the words when they talk to their players.
Generally, as coaches, Rick, like with your speech team, you meet with them before you start the whole activity process and with parents, right?
Yeah, right. And so
And you review this with them
Yeah, I
at that
think
time
that-
individually?
I think that's the idea here, is that we're going to try to do that as much as we can as coaches, to use these words, and hopefully they begin to stick.
Good,
As students who are in multiple activities will hear it from one coach to the next, hopefully.
good.
Let's see if there's anything else there I need to mention. I think that was kind of what we just talked about there. Were you going to do this one?
Sure. So the next part is, we briefly talked about this, how are we going to continue to roll this out? And to answer your question, I also coach swimming, and we have really done a lot of Life as a Tiger with our swim program. We talk about it, we review it. We have a poster hanging up in the girls' locker room. So our hope is that, for sure by the beginning of next year, that all of the coaches are using the same language and talking about Life as a Tiger. Getting some banners and signage would be something that we would like to also do as well. And then at activities, using the PA announcements and putting them on game programs as well. And then again, reviewing sessions with teams and groups. So this year we're going to be working on that with site leadership team, or the activities leadership team, is how are we going to get all coaches on board, and how can we roll that out with all activity members and coaches and staff. And then we've also talked about possibly doing some student videos, so some students portraying and doing a video about each of the acronyms, and being able to display that maybe at activities or even just with each individual team or activity. Thanks again to our outstanding staff. Thank you for having us come and asking us to present this, and thanks for putting the PowerPoint together.
Yeah, I think these two, along with the rest of the members of our leadership team, I mean, a lot of work went into this, especially last spring. We kind of spent a lot of time talking about this at our activities leadership meetings, and Rick had a big part in helping come up with the proper acronyms. And we talked there's a lot of different words for each of those letters that we talked about, and kind of voted on which word to use for T and which word to use for I, and we really feel good about what we came up with. And yeah, like Kathleen said, we just rolled it out this fall, and it's a start, and now kind of the plan going forward is to really, how do we continue to work to ingrain this in everything that we do from activity to activity. It's not just our sports teams, but across the board, all the things that we're doing.
And for the kids to internalize it and hold each other accountable. That'll be huge.
That's the goal.
Would you put this, put posters down in the elementary level? Would you go that far to
Certainly could.
start them young,
Certainly could.
I think it's good it ties in to our, I'm trying to think of what the character building that they do.
Tiger traits.
The Tiger traits, so that's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is our world's best workforce.
Bill, will you grab that? Well, Jeremy is sick today. We're home with some sick kids, so I'll run through the PowerPoint for the world's best workforce and achievement and integration plans for 2018-19. Talk a little bit about both of those. We're right now we're in the process of, and I'll show you this, I guess, in a second, of looking back at last year's plans, sort of analyzing how we did, and moving forward into the third and final year of our achievement and integration plan, and crafting a new world's best workforce plan for 2019-20. So World's Best Workforce legislation has been around since 2013, I believe. Every district is required to have a plan that has these 5 goals or something related to these 5 goals. All students ready for kindergarten, all third grade students reading at grade level, closing, eliminating, reducing achievement gaps in academics, graduating all students, and preparing all students to be career and college ready. Districts are also required to have a strategic plan that sort of incorporates the many aspects of the World's Best Workforce legislation into it. We're required to publish an annual plan. The plan is found at that link there. And then once we do our annual summary report and submit that to the Department of Education, we will also post that online right after we have a public meeting, which will come up in November or December. We haven't scheduled it yet. So our goals in the 2018-2019 World's Best Workforce Plan regarding Ready for Kindergarten, our goal was to have 70% of all 3 and 4-year-old students proficient in all language and literacy standards. We didn't reach that goal, as you can see the result there, but I put an asterisk by the 3-year-olds and the percent of 3-year-olds and then the percent of 4-year-olds are listed. What we found by using the work sampling online system assessment is that it is geared for students who attend school, whether you're 3 or 4 years old, every day, all day. So our 3-year-olds do not do that. So consequently, one of the changes we will make moving forward is to likely just have this goal, and you'll see this in the skip for early childhood, likely just have this goal be for 70 or 75% of our 4-year-old students only. Just doesn't make sense for us to use that assessment. So kind of mixed results. I mean, from a 4-year-old perspective, we were above our target. The 3-year-olds, and then you throw into the fact that, what did we have, 13 missed school days and how many late starts and early dismissals. So their school year was definitely impacted by that. Reading well by 3rd grade, our goal was to have 67% of our 3rd grade students be at the grade level norm on NWEA, and that would have been 3% higher than they were as 2nd graders. We didn't get there. 62% of our West Side 3rd grade students were at or above the RIT, so we need to take a look at, okay, well, why didn't we get there? And we'll also, as part of that, we'll also look at the national results for NWEA and try to figure out, was there a drop in 3rd grade proficiency, or did something change there also? Because that could be relevant. When students go from year to year and assessment to assessment, and I've seen this in the MCAs, certain grade levels of assessments are significantly more difficult than previous years or later years, so that's something we want to look into. Closing achievement gaps, our goal in the World's Best Workforce was to reduce the achievement gap between white and non-white students in reading on the MCAs, so the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments, from 32.4%, that was the gap, to 29.4%, and that gap actually ended up at 28.8%. So that was definitely a step in the right direction for us. As far as graduating all students, one of the things that we've done, I'd say in the last 2 or 3 years, maybe even just the last 2 years, is not just look at the 4-year graduation rates, because we know we have a number of students coming to Marshall and enrolling with limited educational experience prior to coming to Marshall, and it's maybe not realistic for them to graduate in 4 years. So we're starting to take a look at our 5, 6, and even our 7-year rates more in depth. Hence, that's why you see the 5-year rate included in our World's Best Workforce Plan. So we wanted to have that 5-year rate be 95% at the high school. It was slightly less than 86%. Remember, that's a group of students, one sort of graduating cohort, if you will. That number we'll see, I think, probably fluctuation. It could go way up or it could go way down depending on the cohort and the characteristics and demographics of that. But in this particular case, we did not meet our goal. At Maytech, this was kind of a two-part goal for us. At Maytech, we wanted the 6-year graduation rate to go from just less than 54% up to 58%, and actually it was 82.6%. So we know that we've seen a large number of graduates from Maytech, and I think we're starting to see that be reflected in our 7, 6, 5, and even 4-year graduation rates. Career and college readiness, we had 2 survey questions that we asked our 9th through 12th grade students at the high school and at Maytech, basically saying, do you feel that ramp up to readiness and everything that goes with that is helping you be more career and college ready, or kind of get ready for life after high school? Our goals were 73.23% to have students respond favorably to one statement, and almost 80% to another statement. You can see that both of the results exceeded our goals again, so we achieved, or our results were better than what we wanted in the World's Best Workforce plan. Also want to talk about achievement and integration because it's something that we're trying to align more closely with our World's Best Workforce plan, and there's some overlap here. Achievement and integration is a separate program. We are a part of an achievement and integration collaborative. It's the Southwest Achievement and Integration Collaborative. I believe there are 6 other schools that we participate in, but the legislation, the funding, and the plan itself has 2 goals: to reduce disparities in academic achievement among all students and specific categories, excluding gender, disability, or special education status, and English learners. So you can't, we've found you can't say we want special education students and non-special education students. That's our achievement gap focus. We can't do that in the plan. They'll say, nope, you need to rewrite it or whatever. So those groups are excluded. And then the second goal in the integration and achievement plan is to increase racial and economic integration. So our goals, similar to our World's Best Workforce goal, to reduce the achievement gap on reading between white and non-white. This time the difference is we're using as the measurement all state accountability tests. In the World's Best Workforce plan, we only use the MCA. So we also have what's called the MTAS, which is for certain special education students, and also the access test. It's just a little bit different, same concept though. And again, we see mixed results and thumbs down in terms of we wanted the gap to be 25% or less, and it's currently at 28.5%. But because the Achievement and Integration Plan is a 3-year plan and we're only 2 years into it, we kind of set benchmarks, and our benchmark was to be at 29% last year, and we're at 28.5%. So I'd like to believe that we're on target. We're just not technically there to our goal, but again, it's a goal that we have 3 years to work on. As far as, we also have a goal in our Achievement and Integration Plan to graduate 60.6% of our Black students, to increase that rate, and also to increase the graduation rate for Hispanic students to 63.1%. Again, this is a 3-year goal. We did not reach that goal last year. The graduation rate for Black students district-wide was 40%, and Hispanic students was 46.2%. We know we have work to do in those areas. We've had a lot of conversations about that already, and we'll continue to do so because it's not just important because it goes in a plan, right? It's important because it's what we should be working on. Increasing integration, we have a couple different things that we do as goals listed in our plan. One is we have the ACT Prep Day for all of our juniors at SMSU. I believe that's typically over SMSU spring break. They've been a great partner. Our composite score in terms of the goal for all of the schools in the collaborative was 23.0, and last year when all the districts added up their ACT scores, it was 22.1, so we didn't reach the goal as a collaborative. However, we also survey those students, and we want basically 85% or more student satisfaction with the ACT prep day, and last year's juniors, this year's seniors, 87% of them were quote-unquote satisfied, so that was a positive. Also, as part of increasing integration amongst our students in the 7 districts that are in the collaborative, 2 summers ago, we were able to offer summer courses, summer college credit earning courses, and our goal, I got to think this through, 2 years ago was for our students to earn, I believe, 5 credits, college credits, last year 15, and this summer 25. 2 summers ago, we were able to offer 2 courses. Our students earned 15 credits, so we met the goal 2 years ago. Last year, there were not enough students interested collaborative-wise to take the summer courses, so we couldn't offer the courses. We're doing some things different. I know Brian's has some information about a couple courses we're hoping to offer this summer, and hopefully a year from now, when Jeremy and I are back here to report on this, we're able to say, yes, we had good participation amongst our future juniors and seniors, and 25 credits or more were earned by our students during these summer courses. But last year, we couldn't offer the courses, hence we didn't meet the goal. Next steps, I kind of went over some of these already, but we're working on a summary of our World's Best Workforce and our Achievement and Integration Plan from last year that needs to be submitted to the Department of Education. We'll utilize what we sort of discover as part of that report preparation, and also what we've received back from the Minnesota Department of Education to craft a new 2019-2020 World's Best Workforce Plan. We will have a public meeting. Typically, it's been in late November, but we need to pick a date that we think will conflict the least with our families. We'll continue to implement our 3-year Achievement and Integration Plan. We're in the last year of that this year, so we have 1 more year to go. And then we'll start work already on our 2020 through 2023 Achievement and Integration Plan, again, based on assistance that we'll get from the Department of Education, previous year's results, sort of internal needs analysis, all of that. So, questions that you have?
I have a question to Brian. Brian, what are some of the reasons why our graduation rate is so low with our Black and Hispanic students?
I think the largest reason is the number of students who come to us older at the age of 17, 18, 19, or 20 who haven't been in school previously. And they enroll with us, and we support that because they're going to be immersed in the language more so than they would be at, say, adult basic ed going for a few hours a day, a couple of days a week. And they're going to age out before they can earn the credits needed for graduation. The state uses a term called SLIDE. And that stands for Students with Limited or Interrupted Formal Education. A lot of the students that we get who are a little bit older have not been in school. And it's difficult to compress 13 years of formal education into a small window.
I think that's important for our public to understand. Are there any additional things intervention-wise that we can help with? I know that you've looked hard at it.
Well, we utilize our credit recovery options and opportunities, after hours, summer school. Other interventions, we work with SMSU for the Upward Bound program. And there's a variety of things, but again, you're still trying to compress those years of learning and speed that process up. Sometimes I have explained it to people, it's, you know, if you're supposed to bake a cake for an hour at 350, it doesn't really work well to bake it for 20 minutes at 500. and expect the same results. And kids need time, adults need processing time to learn, and just, it's not something that happens quickly.
Where do we see the biggest challenges at, Brian, in helping those students progress? I mean, is it understanding the language, or is it a little bit of everything? I mean, where do we see those biggest problems?
I think one of our biggest challenges is trying to keep those students in school and not dropping out. And so if they come to us at 16 or 17, we often see where when they become 18 and maybe they see that they're not going to graduate, they may age out, whether it be through family pressure or their own motivation, they choose to enter the workforce. And so we'll see a number of students, and I say a number, it's a small number, but it impacts the data and the percentages that you all see.
Yeah.
That need or choose to go and enter the workforce and help their family. The level of motivation of a student, if they know that they're going to age out before they can attain graduation, their motivation to continue to come and work in school decreases significantly when they see that they can be out earning a paycheck.
Would they qualify, like our special needs students, to be educated till age 21?
In the state of Minnesota, everyone can stay in school until the age of 21
Okay.
or until they graduate.
Or until they
That's not a
graduate?
special education law.
Okay.
That's state statute. I think,
All right.
I often will say to people, I think people would be surprised if they realize the number of 19, 20, and 21-year-olds we have at Marshall High School. I think people would be real surprised in our community.
And the conversation that is happening right now, and Brian, you can jump in as well, that's why, one of the reasons why we've looked at our 5, 6, and 7-year graduation rates.
Exactly.
Just because of sort of the challenges that many of a growing number of our students have to graduate in 4 years. And
Well, and I'm glad they're staying in till age 21, through the age 21, so that, it's meaningful for those to stay. And you've made the difference with that.
I think when we look at those 5, 6, 7-year rates and we see how high those are, I think that's a compliment to our system that creates an environment for those students that do want to continue to
Yes.
stay with it. Because it is a sacrifice and it's not
I
easy
agree.
for them.
I agree. Thank you for doing that, Brian.
Well, it's a lot of people.
Any other questions? Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. It is approved. Financials, does anybody have any questions? And we'll vote. I'll make a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we'll vote. It is approved. Board forum, board members, anything you want to bring up?
The Bond Oversight Committee is continuing to meet. We met last week with the architect and ICS representatives. They have been having special user group meetings. Plans are coming together really great. It's really getting to be really exciting now. We hope that there'll be more out for the public to see as we get through this year. Tomorrow, there are multiple meetings again for the Bond Oversight Committee meeting, including Safe Schools and other activities to continue to work towards the site planning with community members and those sorts of things, and then meeting again with some of the designers for some of the design elements, so.
Very good.
Performance Oversight Committee met with Mr. Munson and Dion, and we're on target to be ready for the audit report on the 30th to our committee. More of that will follow. Anything you guys need to add to that?
I think that summed it up pretty well.
We're also working on some goals for us.
Right.
And,
Yes.
And a evaluation for us, a self-evaluation for the
Right.
board. So that will be coming later too.
And that was, what's good, I'm glad you brought that up, Matt. Scott brought that forward as the template from the School Board Association that we could readily use and not have to pay them.
Correct.
Very good.
And then just a reminder that the December 2nd school board meeting, which is the first Monday in December, that meeting is at 6:01 PM because it's the truth and taxation, it's the old truth and taxation hearing or meeting, and that meeting cannot start until 6:01, so it will not be at 4:30, just a calendar reminder for you.
You'll send out reminders. Otherwise, some people just show up.
Covers us well.
4:30 and just come back at 6.
You cover us well.
Moving on to our administrators report.
Got me flustered now, Jeff. Reminders, wow. Couple things from my report. Hopefully you had a chance to read everyone's. They do a nice job on those. At their meeting last week, the Pride in the Tiger Foundation Board approved over $32,000 in teacher impact grants for students, families, staff, programs, schools in the Marshall Public School District. We're certainly grateful for their sort of ongoing support and all that they do for our stakeholders. In Tiffany's early childhood report, ECFE and Adult Basic Education are collaborating on a new family literacy class. It's called Camp Children and Adults Making Progress. It's meeting 2 times a week for 3 hours, and it's at SMSU. She and I visited about that the other day, and she's really excited about it. Darcy, in her report from Parkside, shared information about balanced literacy efforts and the site continuous improvement plan, which you'll see later on in the agenda. In Eric's report from Westside, the Marshall Noon Rotary again provided dictionaries to each third grade student. It's interesting when I take student Rotarians to their meeting, I'll ask them, do you remember anything about Rotary? And the one thing that, or know anything, and the one thing that a lot of them say is, yes, we remember getting our dictionaries at Westside. So it's pretty cool that they remember back that far. In Mary Kay's report from the middle school, Project Success, which is our after-school program here, started on October 9th. We typically have between 45 and 70 students who participate in that, and transportation is provided. And then in her report, there's a YouTube, or a link to a YouTube video. They being the staff at the middle school, have been focusing on quote-unquote start with hello this year, and it's just a way to really, I think, help students connect. And there's a YouTube video that in your free time you might want to take a peek at. In Brian's report from the high school, he shared that 10th graders attended a Southwest Minnesota Career Expo at SMSU in late September. And earlier this month, I believe it was the 9th of October, 11th and 12th grade students attended a college fair at the Red Baron Arena. And I think there were over 50 colleges and universities there. And then he also shared student passing rates or data after week 3, which is part of their site continuous improvement plan as well. And Amanda Peterson's report from Maytech, the student council at Maytech planned dress-up days for homecoming. There are some photos in her report that are kind of neat. And then she also shared some informational items about what's going on in Marshall area, at the Marshall Area Child Care Center, again with photos which I think tell really good stories. In Bruce's report for activities, fall activity participation numbers are strong. I believe 8 of the 11 activities that he reported on, the participation numbers are at or above the the 3-year average, so that's a positive and fits right in with what they talked about earlier. Bruce also listed various events that were held at SMSU this fall. There were a lot of them, and that partnership is greatly appreciated, and I'm glad he recognized that. And then MPR, Minnesota Public Radio, did a story about our marching band, and kind of the theme was the consistently large number of students who participate and the sort of inter-school and inter-department cooperation that exists so students can be in marching band and also in other activities. So that was a neat story. Jeremy's report from the Office of Teaching and Learning, he shared some information about the site continuous improvement plans and also gave an update on e-learning days, which I don't think we'll have tomorrow, but probably won't be too far down the road. So we'll see. Beth's report in her mentor in QComp and EL role, she shared sort of updates in all of those areas of responsibility. One note that I had heard for the first time a couple weeks ago, the Minnesota Department of Education is encouraging schools to now refer to English learner students as multilingual learners. So that's instead of hearing EL, you might hear ML in the future.
Like every other year, don't they?
It has been changed, I think, at least 3 times that I'm aware of, so it'll take us a while to transition into that, but we'll keep working on that. Jackie's report regarding special education, she's been asked, actually, kind of exciting news, to serve on a statewide special education forums advisory committee, and she'll also be presenting, I think it's Wednesday and Thursday, at the MACE, Minnesota Association of Special Educators Conference that she'll be attending. So kind of getting out there and sharing some of the things going on in Marshall and also with her expertise. Scott Vandermillen from Marshall Community Services. I don't know if you've seen the mock car crash video that Studio One TV put together or not, but it's pretty powerful stuff from a year ago. I know Brian and many others were involved in that, but the actual video that they did, yeah, it's pretty emotional to watch. So, and then Scott also shared a new program called Pathfinders, which is a hands-on after-school enrichment program that started in late September for grades 5 through 8, and they've had right around 20 to 25 students participating in that. So we're glad to see that.
Where are they doing that, do you know? Here?
Yep, at the middle school here, yep. And then Dion is gone, not able to give his report. He'll be back tomorrow, but in his report, he shared that over Education Minnesota break, much of the remaining work for the safety and security grant projects was completed, and there's really what I'd say only a few punch list items left on that work. So what was that, about $780,000 worth of work? And then he also talked about the VMS, the visitor management system that we'll be using, which is called Raptor. Several people, Tricia, Jeremy, Dion, Todd, and others have researched visitor management systems and decided that Raptor will work best, and we're getting it set up and trying to schedule training. So we'll be using that at our sites in the near future. And then the students.
Okay, so at the high school there is the PSAT for juniors, which was on October 16th. The fall choir is at October 28th, and then the varsity cross country meet at Mountain Lake was October 15th, and then swim meet at Montevideo was October 15th.
And then there was author visits for first and second graders, and there was also a scarecrow day for first graders too at Parkside.
Very good. Moving on to our discussion items, we have our first review of policies that are listed there. Any questions on any of the policies?
Really, though.
There are a lot of them, as you'll notice.
Are we doing catch up?
Those are all legislative changes. changes.
Yeah.
I didn't put it over there.
But we still,
When I saw the ones at the end, yeah.
still need to go through the 3 reading process. I would say there, even though the changes are considered substantial, they're not, most of them are not significant. They're updated because of legislation and/or law changes.
These are changes we got from MSBA.
Correct.
That coordinate with legislation.
Yep.
Okay.
Be sure to read them.
Yeah.
Moving on to our school board calendar review.
October 30th, Bill mentioned it earlier, the Performance Oversight, Finance, and Continuous Improvement Committee will meet with our auditors at 4:00 PM for a committee meeting to go over the, I'd say, the final preliminary audit from 2018-19 and kind of talk through some things and their recommendations. And then in November, I believe the auditors will be here to present to the whole school board. So that's our committee meeting coming up. Sarah mentioned that tomorrow there are a series of meetings for the bond oversight to attend if they're able to.
Moving on to our action items, approval of site continuous improvement plans for the 2019-20 school year. Motion to approve, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
As you can see, I'll just, I'm not going to go through each one, but you can see that we have a site continuous improvement plan as we have had for a number of years for all of our sites, including early childhood. Where Jeremy works with the administrators, and we're really trying to align the SCIPs with World's Best Workforce Achievement and Integration, those plans. So in some of these, you may see a reference to World's Best Workforce or Achievement and Integration or whatever. But if you have questions, I can certainly try to answer them.
Any questions? We'll vote, please. It is approved. Move to close to discuss a student expulsion. Motion to approve.
Second.
So vote, please. And the meeting's now officially closed. Moving on to our action item of consideration and potential action related to resolution of expulsion. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Oops. No, I got it. I got it here. I want to go back to vote.
Back.
Thanks, Brian.
We can vote, and the motion is approved. And the meeting's now over. Thank you.